In this lesson, we're going to cover lesson 30 and lesson 31. In lesson 30, the first thing we're going to look at is addition of vectors. And at this point, we've just been getting one vector, but now they're going to give us two, and we're going to either add them or subtract them. In this first one, you can see they gave us two vectors in polar form. What you have to do first, you have to change it from polar to rectangular. So you're going to use your polar, your P arrow R X button, your P arrow R Y button. You're going to use that in your calculator. So it has to be changed, each one of them, from polar to rectangular. Then we add them, and then we're going to bring them back into polar form. So look at the first one. You put 4,20 into your calculator. When you do that for the X, you're going to get 3.76i. When you put it in your calculator to get the Y, you're going to end up with 1.37j. The next one, put it in your calculator. When you get 7, negative 230 degrees, you're going to get negative 4.50i. And then you put it in again, you get 5.36j. Add these two together. When you add them together, you're going to get negative 0.74i plus 6.73j. Now this is the answer added together, but it is in rectangular form. So you're going to have to go from R to P for the radius, and then R to P for theta in order to get your answer. When you plug that in, you get negative 0.74 comma 6.73. When you do that for the R, you get 6.77 for the radius, and for the angle you get 96.27 degrees. So this is how you add vectors. Now we're going to move on to lesson 31. Really quickly looking at lesson 31. In lesson 31, we are going to learn how to translate, how to manipulate graphs. And the way that you're going to do that, if you see this one, if you put it in your calculator, y equals root x, when you put that in your calculator, you're going to get an arrow like this on the graph. So how would we flip the exact mirror of this? What would that equation look like? Well, by simply adding a negative sign inside the radical, it flips this graph. So if you want to learn how to flip a graph like that, you add a negative to the radical and graph it in your calculator. You'll see you'll get kind of the mirror image of this graph. Okay, here's the next one. Same thing, y equals root x, put it in your calculator. You're going to get this same graph. How do we take it, flip it down, and then this actually is at negative 3, and then how do we move it from the origin? How do we move it back 3? Now before we put a negative inside here, put a negative x, but now actually if you put a negative outside here, it flips it, it doesn't mirror it, actually flips it down. Flips it from here and then flips it down and going this way. And if we put x plus 3, it actually backs it up to right here. So the way to manipulate this equation to flip it downward is you put a negative on the outside. Whereas when the last problem, when we were mirroring it out, we put a negative on the inside there and we got the mirror. And the way to flip it down, you put a negative on the outside, and then the way to move it over 3, you put a plus 3 on the inside. If we wanted to move it over 3 this way, we'd put an x minus 3 on the inside. So you can manipulate these equations however you want to do that. In this next problem, they say graph y equals 1 over x. You put that in your calculator. That's what it comes up to be. Then they ask you to manipulate it, and they want you to take y equals 1 over x, and they want you to go 3 over from the origin, 3 over, and 4 down. And the way that you do that, we know how to go 3 over. It would be x plus 3 if we're going this way. And then to go down, you actually put it on the outside of this, and you would put minus 4. Not sure if you guys can see that. Scoot over just a little bit. So you put minus 4. This is how you translate and move graphs.